Hello YouTube. I had taken a break from making videos for a while for personal reasons, but I'm back to give my thoughts on the whole Charlie HeDBo situation. Most people seem to think this is either an issue about freedom of speech or an issue of racism. I think both of those angles have been covered pretty thoroughly. Instead, I'm going to take a different approach. First off, let me say I think it's horrible that those people who worked at Charlie HeDBo were killed. They did not deserve to die. I wanted to make that clear because for the rest of this video I may be on shaky moral ground, but hey, that's why I post these videos anonymously. I seem to disagree with almost everyone I know on this issue. The people who claim that the magazine is racist don't seem to understand the difference between race and religion, and don't seem to understand the concept of satire. For cartoon satire to work, the drawings have to take recognizable, exaggerated, stereotypical forms. Regardless, it's not racist to mock a religion by using stereotypes of that religion. I also, however, disagree with the Je suis Charlie side of things, because I think what the Charlie HeDBo people did was morally wrong too. A lot of people seem to be taking the approach that free speech means that anyone is allowed to say anything about anything and all speech is morally just fine. I disagree with that. I think there are plenty of ways in which we can, should, and do place limits on free speech. The classical example, of course, is yelling fire in a crowded room. In a perfect world, we'd all be able to say whatever we want, but we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world where there have been public threats of violence made against anyone who creates depictions of Muhammad. The Charlie HeDBo people knew about that, yet they went out of their way to not only depict him, but depict him in the most inflammatory ways possible. They had to know that by doing so, they were greatly increasing the chances of some fanatic inflicting violence upon them. Did they deserve to be killed? No, of course not. We can't act, though, as if we live in a world that's ideal, where everything is as it should be. We live in a world where unfortunately, you can be killed for publishing pictures of Muhammad. It's happened before, it'll happen again. The smart thing to do in such a world is to not publish pictures of Muhammad. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that by doing so, they not only put themselves at risk, but they put at risk everyone around them. That's where their actions become morally wrong, in my opinion. The only good thing about the whole attack was that the murderers chose only to kill the people they felt were directly responsible for the pictures. They could easily have just blown up the entire building or the whole city and killed a lot of people that had nothing to do with the drawings of Muhammad. If that had happened, the Charlie HeDBo people would have been partially responsible because they knew the risks involved in publishing those cartoons. So where does this leave us? The message I take from all of this is simple. Don't publish pictures of Muhammad. Keep criticizing Islam. Everything should be criticized, but do so without publishing pictures of Muhammad. It's not that hard. No one needs to make pictures of Muhammad. That's not a life and death thing. It's not worth losing your life and risking the lives of those around you to draw pictures of Muhammad doing horrible things. Okay, so it's possible to be critical of Islam and make satirical images about Islam without graphically portraying their prophet engaging in sexual acts. By doing so, all that Charlie HeDBo was doing was provoking people who have already followed through with threats of violence in the past. Now, radical Islam is a major problem in the modern world, but if there's one thing I'm certain of, it's this. Intentionally pissing them off is not the best way to go about making them less violent and less radical. At the end of the day, if Charlie HeDBo had never published images of Muhammad, those people would very likely still be alive. In my opinion, that's what's important. A bunch of people lost their lives over a cartoon. Yeah, the murderers should not have killed them. I think we all agree with that. But that's not the end of the story. There's no compelling reason, in my opinion, for those people to have risked their lives and the lives of those around them just to publish a cartoon. Anyway, that's my opinion. If you have an opinion on anything I've said here, please by all means leave a comment, like or subscribe if you wish, and I wish you all the best.